Hi, cuties. Welcome to Daily Dose. So, today, unfortunate things happened in Centennial.
Oh, yeah.
At Arapahoe High School.
It's almost commonplace now. Like, okay, it's Christmas. Let's see.
There was a school shooting. I think that there's only one.
There's one girl in critical condition.
One girl in critical condition.
And one guy that was released.
But the shooter themselves did kill themselves. Apparently we're targeting a teacher.
Yes. They won't release the names yet.
They won't release names or anything yet, but...
Yeah.
It's just like... Colorado, man.
I know.
This is...
Kidnappings.
I was in 6th grade when Columbine happened. And I remembered that. Barry would have been in high school then, wouldn't she?
They actually had a band thing happen down there a week or two prior.
Yeah.
And it was 1999. It was April 20th, 1999. Mm-hmm. So she was getting ready for her first prom.
Yeah.
So Em would have been a freshman.
I remember coming home from school. I took the bus home, and Valerie and Emily would have been in high school.
Yeah, freshman and junior.
Yeah, both my sisters were in high school during that, and I was in 6th grade. And that was awful.
So every time something like this happens, whether it's Colorado or here, it's like it brings it all back.
But they always talk about Columbine though, no matter what.
But they said because of the
publicity,
things that they've learned from Columbine and the strategies they put into place. Yeah, that's true. You know, which is, I guess, a good thing. But we drive around Colorado and you see license plates all the time that refer to Columbine.
That was a big
driving around. Yeah, we'll never forget the Columbine on it.
It's just why does this kind of stuff have to?
Somebody's gonna say it's because of the holidays they make you depressed. But there's a lot of people out there not getting help mentally.
That true. And I'm kind of wondering because Columbine was because of bullying. The root of that was bullying, but this one was going after a teacher. Yeah. So my question now is well, how was the teacher treating the student, or was this the student rebelling against the teacher? Just being, because there's both kinds. There are terrible teachers out there. There are also good teachers out there. So
I think a lot of kids growing up now have that mentality. And now all they're thinking about is their world and how it affects them. So when they feel dissed or bullied, whatever, but all they can think about is themselves. And
but you can be bullied by a teacher. I've been bullied by a teacher.
Sure.
And
I don't know that we can't jump to that.
No, we can't because we don't know the information
high
yet.
School,
but it makes you think. It makes you wonder what drove this kid so much to go after a specific teacher. Not any teacher, a very specific teacher.
I was beat up in school by kids in middle school. And I swear middle school's the worst. But it's changed. And I think high school can be just as bad. So I know everybody's got a story.
There's two sides to the story.
Why?
It's unfortunate that it had to happen, that it had to go this way. That the kid felt that there was no other option to their problem, that they needed to take a shotgun to school. And because it's like there's all these problems. There's problems with victim blaming, and then there's problems the other way around of
blaming their past, and
blaming their past and stuff, or blaming parents, or blaming teachers, or there's just so much blame that people throw around. And it's like there's no going back from this point, though. You can't change it now. It's gone there. They went there.
It's sad. It's such a norm. It's such not a norm.
Not a norm.
It's just so commonplace.
Yes.
I think there aren't a lot of barriers anymore either. Mm. You know, you always had like a fear of failing in class, or maybe a fear of a certain teacher because you always had the stern ones or the ones like, oh. Mm. But in general, teachers don't have a lot of pull. Really. They can't overstep things. No. And I'm sure overseas it's much different.
I think a big problem is just the way.
It's the parents.
Well,
it's
obviously.
the home life that.
Obviously, there are a lot of different factors that played into that. I think one of the problems is respect. I think that's a big problem. At least, I don't know about this specific incident, but in America in general, respect of teachers is terrible. Absolutely terrible.
It never used to be like that.
And it's...
We had a healthy fear and respect.
Yeah, and now it's gone. Now it's, oh, you're a teacher. Well, that sucks kind of mentality. And it's... Teachers have a lot on their shoulders. They're responsible for the education of future generations.
But they're not responsible for the upbringing of children, which is what...
Not in this country.
You know, they always have to blame the kids.
In Japan they are. That's a big cultural difference. When a student gets in trouble outside of school, the homeroom teacher is called.
Yeah.
Not the parents. Well, they're called eventually. But it is usually considered the homeroom teacher's fault if a student is misbehaving, and not the parents.
And society is crumbling because parents aren't, if there are parents, they're not around, or, you know, they've got other things that they're coping with, and so they leave the kids to their own devices, and the kids aren't learning the skills to deal.
So.
Or it seems like there's just tons of kids on antidepressants and drugs to help them instead of facing their problem. I won't say it's not chemical, because I'm sure it's different now than it was then, and there's a lot more medical issues that are brought to light. But to treat them with chemicals or not treat them at all and let them go, I think this whole the society of children is different than it was generations ago.
It's always different. I saw this thing.
I think it's different.
I saw this interesting thing. It's a quote, and I can't remember. It's from like 680 AD or something, or BC. I don't remember which one. But it was a quote of to parents raising kids, and it was a quote along the lines of, "Don't raise your children in your generation the way your generation was raised, because they're living in a different generation."
But you grew up with a healthy fear, didn't you?
Sure.
I know she snuck out of the house and went to the movies and all that jazz. But
I rebelled a bit.
I think she was quite... I think you were afraid of my mood.
This is what I was afraid of. I was afraid of upsetting you, which would in turn get me severely yelled at by Dad.
But
Dad was always the scary force.
Your dad raised you guys old school. There was no warning when they did something wrong. He didn't do a step like, okay, let's talk about this, or let's explain what you did wrong. No, it was cut to the chase, and bam, you got punishment. You knew he was going to raise his voice.
We're kind of going on a tangent now, though.
Know what I'm saying?
I think,
he did raise the old school in a different generation.
So we've gone off topic now of the shooting, but and we're making an 8.5-minute video right now.
Yeah, at this point,
we can go on a long time about this.
You just shake your head and go, why?
Yeah.
And you don't know. So there are 2 Molotov cocktails found too. One was thrown.
Oh, in the school?
Mm-hmm. And one hadn't been thrown.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was thought out.
It was premeditated.
I am so glad that my kids aren't in school anymore. It doesn't matter.
I've been in lockdown when there was a suspected shooter in my school. Thankfully it wasn't. It was a mistake. But I remember we were in lockdown for a long time, and I was in the back room of the library with a friend of mine who was bawling her eyes out because she was so... She believed that they were specifically after her. And that's kind of how she took 9/11 as well. She was convinced the terrorists were coming for her and her alone. It was kind of ridiculous.
It's like my dreams of zombies.
It was just ridiculous. Anyways, this is a really long video now. Sorry, guys. Today's question is, it's just, what do you think about the situation? If you heard about it. If you haven't heard about it, you can go see it on the news. There was Arapahoe High School in Centennial, Colorado. So, Centennial's like half hour away?
On a good day.
On a good day. Depending.
It's probably about 40 miles from us.
So,
south.
It's far, but okay.
But it doesn't matter.
That's the question of the day. What are your thoughts? See you tomorrow.